Great to see Luke Valentine back in the starting side.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he wasn't quite ready for last week, but he's raring to go. So yeah, it's a big confidence booster for us.
What does he bring for you?
Oh, just experience. Just that probably a little X factor. We know what an outstanding player he's been in the past for Wales. I think he hasn't had a lot of games in the last few years, but just having him back, I think, gives everyone a lot of confidence.
And in terms of Eddie James coming in for Owen Watkin, it's going to be a forced change for that. What will Eddie bring for his first Wales test now?
Yeah, I think with Eddie, it's about giving him that opportunity and confidence. We've been impressed by, he's not just a big man in terms of being able to carry the ball forward, but he's got some lovely skills and hands, and we're encouraging him to do that with some of his passing game and his offloading game, and obviously, he gives us an opportunity to get us across the gain line with his size and stuff. But he's as all Scarlets players tend to be, he's pretty horizontal in terms of being calm and relaxed, and hopefully he goes out there and makes the most of it.
And Howard Wing had a nasty facial knock. Good to have him on the bench and the impact he can make from that.
Yeah, it was him with the cut on his face. Spoke to him early in the week, and he said he was 100% keen to be available, and wasn't looking at any opportunity not to put himself in contention to be selected. So that's he didn't get a lot of time last week, so it's good to see him back and hopefully come in and having an impact off the bench.
With the enforced change you had to make, it's another new separate partnership. In the World Cup, we had obviously Nick Tompkins and George North established. You haven't managed to get that since, really. How important is that in terms of getting that, settled? Do you like you had all those years ago with Jamie Roberts and Jonathan David, especially in the form of your attack?
Yeah, I think that's what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to have combinations that are settled and build experience and build that partnership over a period. Fortunately, with Owen being injured, it's been a forced change on us, and so there's been probably for a number of years now. There's been lots of different combinations, and it's trying to settle on a midfield. I think it's important for the team going forward in terms of that 9-10 on the inside, and obviously the back three as well, having that solidity in the midfield.
What have you worked in the attack this week in terms of the fluidity you're looking for with Rodin?
I think the message to the players is that there were times and opportunities to put the ball through our hands and to pass and make sure that we look and take those opportunities. I thought there was some quite good stuff on counter attack and things, and probably just holding our feet and keeping depth, and at times we were probably guilty of being lateral as well. So making sure that we're square and we take those opportunities and look to put the ball through our hands.
How nice has it been in Nice this week in terms of being the weather, but also being away from Ireland and Wales and the pressure?
Oh, I don't think there's been any pressure here, but it's been good. The weather's been fantastic. It's I think having that opportunity sort of to have a camp together, because you don't get a huge amount of preparation. I think we had about 5 training sessions before that first game, which was tough, and then the English players having to go back to their clubs. So, just being able to have the guys here and have some time together, some bonding as a squad, I think it's been a real positive.
What did you make of Italy in that first game against Scotland?
Yeah, I think what impressed me about them is just their fight. They were down and they took their threes, got back into the game sort of 19-12, and then obviously the intercept 19-all, and they're in the game. So they're a team that won't go away. They'll compete hard at the breakdown, and we know that. And so they're a tough team to put away.
A lot of people externally have been saying how important this game is. How do you view it internally as the squad?
Yeah, we've spoken about that as a group. Just how important this game is for us, and I think the players have responded well in terms of taking some ownership and leadership this week, and they're aware of how important this game is.
how good is morale in the squad at the moment? Because you'd assume with a few defeats, it's going to be tough. But everyone seems quite upbeat here this week. And how would you maintain?
Yeah, well, you try and be positive as much as you possibly can, and try and not look at the white noise from the outside. I think that's hugely important. Like you said, being down here and being away from things is definitely a positive in terms of us as a group. Just focusing on ourselves and preparing for this week.
Fun one for me. For everything that you've been doing, how important is to get a win this weekend?
Oh, every game's is important. It's not something people throw out comments like it's a must-win game and all that sort of stuff, but you never talk about that as a group. You don't say, "Oh, this is a must-win game." You talk about just making sure you do the right things as a group and the preparation and those things tend to take care of themselves. And we're possibly a little bit didn't express ourselves a little bit as much as we probably would have liked last week in terms of there were some opportunities, and we've spoken about being calm, being relaxed, particularly on attack, holding our feet, holding our depth, and when there are the chances, making sure that we execute them and take them.
Warren, obviously, there's only 3 changes to 23. Most of those are sort of injury enforced. Is that, I guess, a sort of sign of faith in the squad from last week that they can put certain things?
Yeah, I think there's 2 ways to look at that. In terms of, we looked at the game and some of our contact area was really good. Few things that we needed to fix up. We've probably got a bit narrow on a couple of cross kicks, so just keeping our width on those cross kicks. We conceded a couple of maul tries. That's an area that we've focused on this week. And when you look at that, even the break that Ponce made, Dave Jenkins has said he's just been caught a little bit there, and probably the pass has gone 2 or 3 metres forward as well. So some of those are easy fixes for us. And then when you're looking at picking a squad, if you are making 2, 3, 4 changes, do those players feel that they've been made the scapegoats in terms of the performance? So I know there's a couple of forced changes, and there's an opportunity for those guys to go out and do some of the things that we did well last week, and also an opportunity to fix some of the things to help improve our performance.
I think statistically, for the first round, Wales made the most passes, how many taken into skills. Would that be the sort of stats you want to see this weekend, or do you want to bring those numbers into play?
Yeah, probably the balance. We spoke about how many. It's kind of like I did a heat map basically on us and France. So they made most of their tackles. The tackle numbers were similar, sort of around the middle of the park, and we tended to make a lot of our tackles sort of in or around about our 22. So it's just kind of like just getting that balance right between not overplaying when you've got an opportunity to put the ball behind the team and put them under some pressure. And some of our kicks stuff and our execution was excellent, and then probably a couple of times where we ended up probably playing through too many phases when we weren't on the front foot. So, that's something that's been addressed this week and trying to get that balance right.
How close has Joe Roberts been in terms of that midfield selection? Obviously, you spoke pre-tournament about wanting to develop depth at 13, and he's someone who plays probably in terms of squad the most regularly at 13 and club level. So like for Joe, he hasn't been involved with us a huge amount. He's come back from that knee injury and things, and hasn't had a lot of rugby. Like I said before, we probably went with some more experience last week, but didn't feel like for this game it was fair in terms of isolating 1 or 2 players in terms of not giving that opportunity. So yeah, look, Joe's someone that we've got a lot of time for, and hopefully he does end up with an opportunity. He's got a left foot that gives us some variation as well, and he's definitely one for the future. And Gareth mentioned some of the sort of external pressure ahead of this game and how people are building it up. How do you view Saturday? Do you view this as
potentially the biggest game of your time in charge of Wales?
I haven't seen any of the external pressure, so I try and stay away from that stuff. So it's just making sure that we focus on ourselves. And how do you, if you absorb yourself in that, I don't see it as being positive in terms of trying to portray to the players how important that what we're asking them to do. We're asking them to be positive and to have confidence and self-belief. So it's not I look at every game as being really, really important.
Warren, obviously every game we want to start well, but on the back of last weekend they obviously failed to score. Maybe confidence-wise, how important is the first 20 to sort of maybe get on the board early? Score first?
Look, I was happy with the start last week. We're 0-0 after 17 minutes, and I'm thinking when I go back on that, I'm thinking, probably another 10 minutes of that, and the pressure starts to go on them a little bit. The expectation of the crowd, and we've potentially let them off the hook with a loose ball that's gone. They've kicked through, and they've ended up capitalising on that. So but it's important going and starting well. And the thing with the Italian team is that when they're in the fight and in the game, that's when they're hard to put away. So we've got to make sure we definitely start well. We look at taking points and looking at putting scoreboard pressure on them.
And they've obviously got two very good centres, but there's maybe a couple of reads against Scotland where they got sort of exposed. Is that an area where you've looked to maybe target?
Yeah, I thought the way that spoken about the way that Finn Russell controlled the game last week, how flat he played, and the pressure he put there, I thought Scotland attacked on occasions really well. So we've spoken about where we can expose them a little bit in terms of they do come really hard off the line, but that does give you some opportunities to look at exploiting that and get in behind them.
And just lastly, the players have been on a tough run here, but have you been impressed by their character, their morale? From what we saw training, the mood in the camp seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's I think it's something that we're all conscious of as a staff. Trying to be positive. How do we take that pressure off the players? In terms of young men, and they're well aware of the situation they're in, and they're desperate to want to go out there and perform well. And I said I looked at some individuals last week, and I just thought, they gave us everything. They really, really tried hard, and if you've got to continue to do that, and we need the bounce of the ball, a little bit of luck, and a couple of calls as well, which would help. And then, but you've just got to keep being as positive as you possibly can, and for us as coaches and staff, making sure that we stay calm and we allow them to have the confidence to go out there and express themselves.
Thank you.
Okay. Chris Jones.
Hi Warren, hope you can hear me okay. Just on Faletau, we know what a great player he's been for you. Where do you think he is at, though, at his age, with all of his injuries he's had? Where do you think he is at sharpness-wise?
That's a $1 million question in terms of the way that he's trained. He's been good. We had him in the autumn when he was still recovering from his shoulder, but he was running around and taking a significant part of most of the trainings. He looked really sharp for us in the autumn, and he wasn't quite right last week with his knee. So it's been tough on him, and it's been hard with the injuries that he's had over the last number of years. And so we're looking for, hopefully for him, we're looking for some of those special traits that he has to get us on the front foot and hopefully inspire those players around him.
And you mentioned how the group and everyone's aware of the situation you're in. How do you, as coaches, how have you gone about getting confidence in the group this week when it's so hard to have confidence with the position you're in?
Yeah, I think it's just making sure that we're clear in terms of the messaging that we're giving the players, training well as a group, and then coming away from trainings, feeling good about yourselves in terms of the way that we're prepared. That's the only way that we can do that. I think it's important. Everyone is aware of the situation. It's not something is part of everyday conversation. You're talking to individuals about their own performance and giving them a bit of confidence and making sure that there's some self-belief in them going out there and delivering for us.
Cheers. Good luck.
Moreno.
Hi, Warren from Italy. Just one question. Remembering 2 years ago, victory you had in Rome, and we approached the match probably in the same situation with Italy slightly favourite. I know Italy now is different, but at that time you tore us apart with some kicks with the Reece Webb. Is there anything you have planned for this week in particular, or can you draw any comparison between this match and that one in Rome 2 years ago? Thank you.
Yeah, I thought Reece Webb was outstanding that day. So, yeah, the plan for Saturday is we're going to kick every single ball. I think it's the plan is just making sure that we get, the balance right. And that's the important thing. We probably weren't quite right with our balance last week against France, and that's definitely been a focus for us this week. But we've got a huge amount of respect for Italy, and they're a tough team, and so it's an important game, a big game for both teams having lost last week.
Grazie, see you in Rome.
Yeah, grazie.
Julian.
Yeah, Warren, it's an unusual situation for Italy to be favourites for a game. Is that something you feel you can use to your advantage?
Not at the moment. It's definitely something we haven't spoken about. I think possibly in the past, if that was the case for Italy, they've liked the underdog tag. It's been easy for them to motivate themselves for that. So, I didn't even know that they were favourites. So, it's just a game of rugby. We've just got to, both teams have got to prepare. I don't think we look at, who's favourite and who's not favourite. Yeah.
Thank you.
James.
Hi, Warren. I just wonder, just back to the Dan Bigger thing about saying it's the biggest match in 20 years or whatever. Does it feel bigger than Grand Slam deciders and World Cup semi-finals?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. To be honest, look, we've been saying for a while we knew the situation we're in with the amount of players we lost and the experience we lost. We've been in some close games, and unfortunately we haven't been able to get across the line, and we know we're in a bit of a rebuilding phase. So it's definitely not the biggest game in Wales for the last 20 years. It's an important game for us, and we're well aware that we've got some other tough games in this competition, and we're desperate to want to get a win. That's the most important thing. It's definitely not the biggest game that Wales have had in the last 20 years.
And what could a win do for this young team, for the youngsters in particular? Yeah,
I think just getting the monkey off your back and just growing some confidence, and players able to put their shoulders back a little bit and stand a little bit taller. I think those are the important things for that, because I know how hard they're working, how hard they're trying, and I think they're desperate to try and get that W as well.
Thank you.
Okay.